Before we get started with today's podcast, we'd like to ask returning listeners to leave us a rating or review on your favorite podcast platform, iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you really enjoy it, share a link to this podcast with friends or family who would enjoy hearing our weekly discussions about basketball and basketball culture. Now, on to the show.
Yeah, isn't it amazing when Michigan can keep this game to a 19-foot 9-inch game inside that three-point line? It's all theirs. Nice move by Steve Fisher here. Turn it into the 19.
Welcome to the 19-9 podcast with HVS. I'm here with Josh Barnett.
What's up, sir?
What's going on, man? It is good to see you in the flesh. So it's nice to be here to talk hoops.
You got new equipment.
I know, right? Feeling fancy?
It's amazing. We don't have to set up the mobile command
No,
center. We can
just-
actually hear our
just
music
all-
and shit.
I know, right?
This is wild. This is
whole-
like a new Meyer.
It's a whole new world.
The quarantine has done you well.
The quarantine has done you well.
Truth.
True. Oh my gosh. All right. So today we are going to be talking an HVS classic, LSU versus Loyola. But before that, let's just do a general check-in. What in the hoops world are you consuming besides this game right now? We started talking before we hit record about Lou Williams. What else have you been paying attention to?
Not anything. Golf.
Golf?
I've been watching all the golf.
It's probably good.
I love it because
Keeps you relaxed.
here's the deal, though. Here's the deal with golf. The fans don't matter.
That's right.
They just don't. Like I'm still watching these guys perform the same way that they would. I mean, in the majors will be interesting.
It'll sound
right?
a little
So
different.
2 weeks we got the PGA.
Yeah, but it's
That'll be
only
interesting.
limited time, like the 18th and like the final round.
Well,
You're missing.
the Tiger roars and
Exactly,
stuff.
you're
Like
gonna miss that.
Yeah, but is Tiger gonna roar?
I
don't know.
haven't. I've been watching the NBA games. I haven't missed the fans that much, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I think the court looks great. Like it looks so good compared to baseball.
I hated the whole bubble thing.
I
I
know, you
hated the
said that,
no
but
fans.
Threw me off.
Yeah, I hated all of it. And then I watched about 10 minutes of the Rockets Grizzlies game
Yeah.
last night.
Ja looked good.
I'm in.
Yeah. Yes.
100% in.
Yes.
I thought it was gonna suck.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. And then just so much other shit going on too, and the games weren't counting yet. But I'm like, the NBA Finals is like it's probably my favorite sporting event. I don't know if
Wow.
I've ever told you that
No.
before.
Wow.
I mean, because of what it always signified, it was like the start of summer, us as
Yes.
teachers getting off,
Yeah.
where you could just sit.
Stay up and watch the game.
You had something to look forward to. You knew that the kids were going to be in bed, and you got the beer, the drink of your choice,
Yep.
ready to go. I'd move my TV out to the porch, sit on the porch, have people over, get food, and watch all games. And you
Yeah.
hoped every series went to 7 games, and you just sit there and watch it
For
all the
sure.
way through. It was like this event. It wasn't like,
Yeah.
just this thing. And
Right.
now I'm like,
You were worried
I'm
to lose
pissed
that.
on this bubble thing because we don't get home court advantage and shit in the finals.
Would it be home court without the fans there, though? Anyways.
No, I want the fans there.
Yeah.
That's my
I got
point.
you. I got you.
So anyways, I think that's gonna be interesting. But it's almost. My hope is that it's gonna be raw as hell, like open gym raw,
Right. Like AAU.
where people are
Yeah.
like the high level AAU
Yeah.
where people are competing their asses off. And so like an NBA finals might be wild. Like I think you might be more apt to see like fights and shit
Maybe.
without the crowd.
There's a lot of like
Nobody's putting a show on for anybody.
Well,
You're
there's
just
a-
playing ball.
There's a lot of mental fatigue that's going to go into living there for 3 months too, and the fact like I put in all this time to be here, I'm not losing this. Like I just
I
had
know.
to live here for 3 months for this. Like,
And you might get the flip side on that on some teams that maybe aren't as mentally strong too, where they're like, let's get the fuck out of here.
I had an idea. I'm going to talk to the guy who wrote the book on NBA Jam on Wednesday.
Yeah, that's sweet.
I know. And I want them to make an NBA Bubble Life video game. I think it would be awesome. You could do so many like little games within a game.
It would be like NBA Jam mixed with like Grand Theft Auto.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was thinking of. I'm like, you could go fishing. You could try to sneak out. You could be Lou Williams, who went to get chicken. Yeah, he went to go get chicken wings wherever he was at. Yeah. So I'm in. I'm going to talk to him and try to get him to use one of his connections to make an NBA Bubble Life
That's sweet.
Video game.
What else has been going on with this podcast? I haven't been keeping up.
Man,
I've been absentee owner.
It's been, yeah, you have. It's been good. We've had just a lot of guests, but it's good to be back down here too. So set the scene. Why'd you end up picking LSU versus Loyola? What made you pick this game?
Well, we got LSU licensing. That is coming out in September. So
good reason.
Yeah. So I was looking through LSU games. Now, the LSU team that I remember the most from my childhood is the 87 team. And the only reason I remember them is because they almost beat IU, my beloved 87 all-time IU team, with Nikita Wilson, Anthony Wilson. They have a Barksdale guy. They had a great team, and they had just made that magical run in '86 to the Final Four. But so that's the game that popped in my head right away was the '87 IU, and then I was like,
Makes sense.
They get beat. So if they're our new team, we can't pick a game that they get beat. So I'm like, well, let's go back and look at some of the games that would be fun, and then obviously Shaq. So you think Pistol Pete right away, and we'll do a Pistol Pete game because I think that would be fun because that's really not our era at all. So it'll be interesting to go back and watch if we can find film on that. And then we'll watch some of the 81 run. We'll watch some of the 86 run too. But then I wanted to watch a young Shaq. And so I was going through a list of the greatest games played at the Maravich Center. And this one was number one. And then I saw the score, and I'm like, I can probably watch that. It was like, what was it, like 140 to
145 to 138.
Shit.
Crazy. 286 points, I think.
So then I automatically just started thinking, like, okay, who's playing in it? So, and then coaching. Obviously, you have the legend Dale Brown, who's far more accomplished. Like, if you grew up in the North, you don't really realize how accomplished Dale Brown was in the SEC at LSU, which is interesting. And then you had Paul Westhead that was
coached in the pros too. So both those guys.
But didn't Westhead win a world championship with the Lakers?
He might have.
Magic's rookie year, I think.
Maybe.
And then they didn't mesh after that.
Yeah.
And they got rid of the coach and not the player.
Could be. Man,
something like that. Something like that. But then he brought that style. He's the guru of Go, which was the 30 for 30. And then obviously you get Bo Kimball, and then you get Hank Gathers like a month before he passes.
Crazy.
And then this LMU team makes that magical, crazy-ass run to the Elite Eight. It gets beat by Grandmama, Plastic Man, and Tark, who were both wearing the same Tark shirt right now.
I know. With Gathers, that game, I mean, imagine that game, what it could have been like. Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that was kind of what went into it. We're super excited to launch LSU. It's coming in September. The stuff has been designed, approved.
LSU,
and it's in
sneaky.
production.
They did the greatest basketball like team starting fives of all time. I don't know if Slam's done that yet, but I've seen that out there.
Yep, me too.
LSU, sneaky good.
Crazy good.
Starting five. If you throw like Shaq, Chris Jackson, Maravich, you could do Ben Simmons in there.
I know it. It's wild.
It's kind of weird because you don't think about, again, we in our Blue Bloods discussion, I bet they didn't come up or barely a mention.
I got super excited when I realized Chris Jackson, a.k.a. Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, was in this game.
Yeah. Because
the LSU team that I remember with Shaq was after he had gone.
Yeah.
And I only remember them against the Indiana thing, being young and just watching IU. I mean, I watched everything, but really loving IU. Like, I didn't pay attention to LSU until they played IU in the tournament. And they seemed like they ran into each other quite a bit. I think they played in 81, 87, and 92 just off the top of my head.
That's kind of random.
Which is wild.
That's how an interesting rivalry comes up when you have different geographical differences.
Dale Brown
and
run
into each other.
Coach Knight were not the best of friends.
I can't imagine why. They seem like guys that would just not. They might get along like if they in a different context, but at the time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, not at the time. Not buddies.
Just a couple of other things. I'll tell you what, Loyola Marymount, I think the most beautiful campus out of any college
You've told me that before.
in the whole country. Unbelievable campus. It sits above like Los Angeles on this like bluff, and it overlooks the Pacific Ocean and Santa Monica and the pier. It's just unbelievably beautiful. I was there for a summer. Got to see Kobe when I was there.
That's crazy.
Bench press next to Peyton Manning. He bench presses more than me, just FYI. But just a couple of other things about this game. 121 points per game. Loyola averaged on this season. They had 150 the game before this. We talked about Bo Kimball and Chris Jackson. We did the redraft. You were talking about some of the other things we've done. We did the 1990 redraft and wonder why neither of those guys were better, because they were unbelievable in this game and looked like perfect NBA guards. So it was just kind of strange to see them in this, and then to think about that it didn't work out for them on the in the long run in the NBA. And then I also rethought you're drafting Shaq first, so I'll give you a shout out on drafting Shaq first, because my thought was he wouldn't fit in the modern NBA, but maybe as we talk through this, he might. Like he was.
Did you see how natural his free throw shooting was back then, though?
He looked unbelievable.
He really did. Like his form was completely different. Like I think he hit 12 of 13 free throws in this game. And it looked fluent too, like just nice. But yeah, Shaq was incredible in this game, and he was a freshman, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, 12 blocks, triple double.
Yeah, and then we were talking about Hank Gathers dying like a month after that.
Yeah,
but Shaq fractures his foot like shortly after that too, so they play in the tournament or without him.
Really?
Yeah, something like that.
Man,
I was reading a little bit about it.
That's tough. Being that big, you never know when it's gonna go. He actually got lucky, I think, with injuries.
I mean, he was never injured. He just got old. In those last days where he was getting traded team to team, it was just he was old.
Yeah, he played for more teams than you think.
Oh, a ton of teams.
All right, before we keep going, you know what time it is. Time for that AZIP ad read. Are you ready?
I thought shit was about to get weird with that music.
No, just AZIP Pizza. AZIP Pizza is a build-your-own pizza place in Indiana and Kentucky. The jalapeno face is back. The pizza of the month is a jalapeno popper-inspired pizza that is one of AZIP's most popular creations. It has ranch cream cheese, delicious smoky bacon, fresh sliced jalapenos for a little heat, sweet pepper jelly, no idea what that is, but it sounds delicious, and a toasted panca for some crunch. It's only here for August, so get it before it's gone. They also have a ton of ingredients so you can choose from to create something delicious on your own. Order online at azippizza.com/order. Pretty sweet, man. I'm getting that on the way out of town today.
So official with this new board of yours. I'll get you over there like a DJ.
All right, let's talk about the pace, because you had a take as soon as I got in here that about knocked me on the ground, because you were like...
okay, number one, you were far too excited about this game, right?
Okay,
so you had to get knocked down just one quick level.
For sure.
Just a bit, because you were like bouncing around like Richard fucking Simmons in here about this game. And I just didn't think the quality of basketball was as good as I thought it was going to be.
Wow.
And some of that, and most of that was because of pace, right? So like that graphic that they show early on is that LMU shoots it before like 4.5 seconds.
Crazy. I saw 4.5 or 5.4.
Yeah, something like that.
And
then LSU was right behind, like 2.5 seconds behind them.
So like faster than the Phoenix Suns, 7 seconds or less.
Right.
In a college game.
Most of that was my fault, because I went in thinking that I was going to see what I've seen when we've done these before, when we watch games in the late 80s and early 90s. And this was like watching a modern era game. Didn't you think?
For sure. 39 threes too by
that was crazy,
LMU.
right? So LSU goes Stanley Roberts and Shaq for most of the game.
Twin
right?
Towers.
The Twin Towers. And that's the
Stanley Roberts, by the way, bigger than Shaq at this point.
That's the old school way of thinking and playing basketball, was height wins, right? Now they have Chris Jackson, and they had some good guards. They had some athletic guards on that team, on that LSU team. But it was interesting because it was seeing your dream scenario versus my basketball traditionalist That's what I was thinking the whole time I was watching the game was like, okay, if there's a game to pick, modern versus a little bit more old school, this one checks a lot of those boxes.
For sure. Didn't you feel like, though, that did you feel like it validated your perspective? I mean, LSU wins, so maybe you could say
but
that.
sometimes talent just wins. Now, the way LSU's defense was really bad.
Yeah.
I mean, these dudes.
Did they know? But
they weren't expecting it.
Exactly.
That's the crazy
How do
thing.
you practice against
It was
something like that?
they would make a basket and start to jog back down the court. And by the time they hit 3/4 of the way down the court, LMU was shooting a three or laying the ball in the basket uncontested. Now, when Shaq and Stanley Roberts were able to get down there and get set, they could influence a lot of the shots around there, and they blocked a shit ton of shots.
Mm-hmm.
But the speed got them, and it was almost, to me, I thought LSU was saying, fuck this, we'll just outscore them. And so then they started playing that tempo too, because LMU's defense wasn't great either. And that's where I was saying I didn't think the game was as good as it was, because I never really saw anybody buckle down and just get like a stop, except for like when the last
Shaq
possession
had 12 blocks.
I know,
Okay.
but I mean that was more or less them flying into him and throwing shit into his hands.
Yeah.
It wasn't like
Gathers was just. I mean, that guy was human pogo stick.
He was
and
an animal.
relentless.
He was and Bo Kimball was far more athletic than I remembered in my 10-year-old brain.
Yeah.
Where I
for
was like,
sure.
he had some dunks and shit. I was like, I did not know he had that in this game.
Yeah.
And then Hank Gathers shooting the left-handed things, and then
left-handed free throws, and he's a
and then we all remember Bo Kimball shooting it for Hank Gathers, but I never watched Hank Gathers play live. I don't think when I was little to know that he did that, and then like to hear the funny part to me was hearing the announcers announce the game and try to come to terms with the way LMU played.
I know. They were as out of breath as I think they actually said that at one point. They go, boy, we needed our rest last night before this game.
Well, it's like looking into the future though for those
is.
guys too. And so it was just this new wave of basketball. I really had an appreciation for that. The ingenuity or the will to try something different. And I mean, it had to have progressed the game long term.
Yeah.
I mean, it had to have
someone
place,
studied that.
a piece.
Yeah, who knows where that came from? I mean, you think like Mike D'Antoni might have been just might have been influenced by, I don't know. That'd be interesting to look into, like where did it go from there? Cuz why don't more teams like LMU play like that? Because it seems like that
both teams pressed. You don't see presses
I know. That's
anymore.
what I mean. It seems like that style, someone should – it's like the Zag, right? Everybody's doing this one thing, playing this one way. Like, just go that
who
way.
presses anymore?
Nobody.
Why?
I don't know.
Dude, I used to be terrified of teams that pressed. Like, scared shitless when I would play. Like,
I don't know.
Oh, fuck. They're going to press us all game. Like,
Well, what's weird is that I think that it might be coaches. Like, they're in this weird position now where the bigger schools, like, think about Shaka Smart. Like, what's the first thing that comes to mind when I say his name?
The Havoc.
Yeah, press, right?
Yeah.
But then he gets to Texas, and now he's not really doing it, and it's like he has to recruit a different kind of athlete.
Yeah, but he's had time to recruit.
I know, but I think that you almost have to do these two things. I wonder about this with IU too. I was actually, of course, my IU brain was thinking about this. Is like, Archie has this fundamentally defensive philosophy, so he wants to get guys that fit into this philosophy. But if those guys aren't available, you try to maybe turn guys into that. And I don't know if that works as you get higher level recruits. Like when you get guys like LMU's got, like the guy that they called Tom Peabody, they called him the human bruise. Like that guy's going to do anything. Like it doesn't matter. He just wants to be on the court. But once you get to a certain level of athlete where you could choose where you want to go, you might not be able to do that.
I think it comes down to two things. I think the game's called differently now.
Yeah.
And you have to guard against foul trouble.
For sure.
And then depth, obviously.
Yeah.
So like
that's
Shaka
true.
at VCU had crazy depth because there wasn't a huge drop off from some of the guys he was bringing in on the bench from what he had on the court. Now at IU, you might have 2 5-stars out there and then a bunch of 3-stars or whatever, and you have to make it work. But you need those 5 stars playing the whole game. You press, you pick up a couple quick
You're in
fouls,
trouble.
you're fucked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think the recruiting is the depth part of it. But like in the book of basketball, and you'll probably remember this, Patino is quoted in there as saying, like, if I ever get another shot in the NBA, I'm recruiting a second unit, or I'm signing a second unit that's just going to be my press unit. He was like, because I'm fascinated to see what it would do, and I'll play them in 2 like 8-minute spurts or something throughout the game, and we'll just press the shit out of everybody.
And I think that there's not enough. There's not enough, like unique thinking or adaptable thinking. I've been watching this show on the History Channel called Alone. Have you seen it?
Where they just get dropped off in the woods. I fucking love that shit.
Yes.
The guy that loses his like little fire stick in the current or whatever, and he's like, I'm all in on this, and he loses that, and he's like, nope, go ahead and make that call.
I'm out.
I love it. That would be me.
I'm hitting the button.
Him hitting the button. He's like, there's no reason for me to stay one more second in here if I can't start a fire.
That's it.
I'm going home. I'm like, man, I respect the shit out of
Yeah.
that.
But the one word they keep using on there that I think is so interesting is adaptable, right? You have to be able to adapt, and that's what that guy couldn't do. As soon as one thing's taken away, he's done, right?
Done.
So I think that the best coaches are adaptable. You can make fun of Coach K or not like him, but I will give him props because at one point his guys stay for 4 years. He has a very specific way they play, and then all of a sudden he was able to just change, and now he's one and done. He's like the one and done king basically, and just it's adaptable, and that's hard. That's hard to be. You have to have a certain level of success maybe to do that at a college basketball level, but I think that to be good at anything, you need some of that, right?
Yeah, probably. Coach K's whole thing changed with USA basketball. I think that's fascinating.
Yeah, no kidding. Connections helped out helped out there. So what about Shaq? What did you think about him and the way they used him? So we talked about how athletic he looked, but
skinny. He was so skinny, but still strong, athletic, ran. I mean, there wasn't a lot of chances for post-ups and stuff because it wasn't really like a half-court game. But that was like peak Shaq. That's the Shaq that goes and gets the Reebok deal and can sell shoes, right? Because big men traditionally don't sell shoes.
Yeah, he looks like Giannis almost, like the way he runs, the way he moves. He just is like he's so fluid out there.
He was really good.
Yeah, I know. I really rethought you're picking him first because I was like, well, man, if I could have Shaq and then get some guys to play more like LMU plays, you got something there. Like you could be unbeatable if you had shooting around him because he is just like at the end in I don't know if it's in overtime or right at the end of the game. Probably the human bruise gets switched on to him.
Oh shit!
He throws him about 5 feet.
That's 17, 18-year-old Shaq too.
onto the ground, and I think all the LMU guys are like trying to look around for a foul, but they ain't coming. Not in LSU in the last minute of the game. Like you're not getting an offensive foul there.
You know what I picked up on that game was I felt like the crowd was tired, like the crowd couldn't keep up because there's only like a few minutes that it really gets loud as hell in there.
Yeah,
that like it was noticeable that like, oh, the crowd's into this. Like for most of the game they're just like moving their heads back and forth.
Yeah,
just watching up and down.
The announcers call it ping pong. Ping pong or tennis.
Like they start to cheer and then they realize that LMU just scored. You know what I mean? Like it was really interesting. And then they come to life at the end, obviously on the last possession when LMU can win it, and then when LSU can win it, they're to life there because the game is slowed down to a half court pace. Right. But for the most part, they're just on an NBA date night, just watching some basketball. Like, huh?
It might not have to do that anymore because everybody be on their phones, so they don't get quite as much whiplash. They're just watching it on the phone.
That's true. But then Hank Gathers has 48 points in this game.
He is. Who did he remind you of?
I don't know.
I was
trying to think.
The laziest one's like Draymond Green, but I don't know if that works because he's offensively so gifted.
Yeah, his shot is flat as shit.
Right. 6'7". He's not big. 6'7". Strong.
Ox though.
I think they call him relentless several times.
So I was watching. I started watching it a little bit down here with EJ as he was packing orders, and he asked me about Hank Gathers because he's so much younger than us.
Right.
And then I told him that I thought he was going to be drafted pretty high, but I don't remember that specifically. Do you have any memories of what his draft rank would have been?
I don't remember either. I mean, I can imagine that he would have been labeled. The problem was with a guy like him then is that he would have got that tweener label, like what position does he play? Because he plays center for them.
Yeah.
Like he could walk into the NBA today and be an awesome small ball 5. Like he would just be like running.
Yeah, he'd
like,
have to shoot.
running
though,
like a man.
too.
They would have to teach him how to. But I mean, you know, you can do that.
Ben Simmons is shooting threes
I
now.
know. Yeah, I mean, you can learn how to shoot. And if you've got a motor like he had, you know, you could figure the rest out. Like again, he had the heart, ended up passing away from that heart problem. I told you before we got on air, I was like, how did it not happen in this game? Because the physical exertion, you know, what'd you say, 45 points?
I think he had 48.
48, 10, more, probably 10 rebounds.
Yeah, I mean, a lot
guarding Shaq. Like, I mean,
yeah, that's the thing. He was doing that amongst those trees of Roberts and Shaq in there too, and he was grabbing rebounds like a motherfucker.
Yeah,
man. It was
throwing
nuts.
dunks down.
He was. His motor was legit.
Yeah,
and then Bo Kimball was legit, and then they just had some foreign dudes. Like that was funny. Like right. So it was like, oh fuck, this is a more modern game.
It was.
I'm like,
who was the
they just
one guy?
picked, I don't know. They
Per Sturmer.
that per guy, and they're like, they picked this dude up out of Germany or something. I'm like, yep.
Per Sturmer.
I don't know where he was really from,
stroking
Sweden or some
threes, yeah.
shit. And I'm like, God damn, this is a modern.
It really was.
A modern team. Like they were ahead of their time. But it's funny because that LMU team is beloved in the college basketball world still. Like they left. Even more so than that LSU team, obviously, they left their mark on college basketball history.
Yeah.
And some of that is with the death, obviously, so that's memorable. But that run that they went on, the left-handed free throws, the style that they played, the way that the team was assembled from coach to getting Gathers and Kimball late after they transferred, foreign influx of players coming in. It's just a wild story, but that's probably one of our more requested teams. We've had LMU in the past, so we're gonna bring them back.
Yeah.
But because their uniforms are sick,
They are.
They're classic '90s, and their colors are dope.
Yeah. So why don't more teams do that? Well, like what do you think in the end? Like why don't they be more innovative or just kind of throw that type of offense at them? Not just the defense, but like just shooting through, you know, the high. It seems like coaches are more controlling almost.
It's not easy to let go of control when there's millions of dollars coming into your pocket. You're gonna get tight, and you're going to micromanage more so than that. And it's not like, you know, there's not great thinkers out there.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to kind of think. And I don't really know what Westhead's story really was, other than coming from the Lakers and all that stuff. But
right.
I need to rewatch that little 30 for 30 short. Or it's not a short, it's a real one.
Yeah.
Guru of Go.
Yeah.
Because it's been a long time since I've watched that. So I really,
it's a good one.
I'll go back and watch it tonight, and then I'll be pissed that I didn't mention some of the stuff. you know what I mean? Like, why didn't I watch that before we had the pod?
You can send me the audio, and I'll cut it in later.
Oh, you can do that now on this Roadcaster Pro?
Get the Pro in there for sure. What about Chris Jackson? Okay, so let's go circle back to Chris Jackson and Bo Kimball. Why do they not succeed? Because I was talking to Joe from the NBA about this, that they just didn't really have the NBA careers. I mean, Chris Jackson was in the dunk contest too. Averaged 30 points a game in college.
Mahmoud.
I know. Why was he never makes an all-star team though?
Yeah, but it's okay. Coming from what he was in college,
yeah,
it's not easy to make an NBA
I
all-star
know, but
game.
I mean,
but
Jamal McGlure made an all-star game. So you think maybe like he makes
that's
one.
when they did the voting with and they might still do it, but you had to vote per position. And there was just dog shit.
Yeah, so
he's
in the West, which is
but
tough.
you still get it. Like nobody's gonna remember that,
right?
I don't know, because until you said that, I was under the impression that Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf had a really good NBA career.
I mean, it was good, but just not 30 points per game. And like if a guy had 30 points a game in college now, and even then,
but Bo Kimball played for a long time too, right?
No,
7-8 years.
I don't think so. He didn't play very long at all, which surprised me. Joe,
looking it up, Meyer, your favorite thing to do on the podcast.
You're banned from that. No, but I mean, again, like he looks awesome in this game. Like he could be a starter or significant contributor on a team, and I don't think he ever got to that level. I guess that's what I was saying is that
He played 8 years.
But I bet you his averages are single digits or close to it. You just would think after watching this that the dynamic, shooter, drives, aggressive, just had the mentality. I don't know. And you just wonder if maybe it was the team or something like that.
Career stats: 5.5 points, 1.5 rebounds. But see, you and I think a little bit differently on this, because when I think in terms of professional athletes, no matter who they are, I always just think of like longevity and if they can stay.
Yeah.
And to me, playing anywhere above 5 years is pretty damn good. I mean, you got to think about how small those rosters are. And I get what you're saying, too. I understand that.
I just mean
but not everybody can go in there and be an all-star or average 15 a game. That's really hard to do.
You just think he could have ended up like Lou Williams or somebody like that, where never makes an all-star game but contributes, like off the bench guy. Vinny Johnson is another back in the day kind of guy. Like, why did he?
But I don't think he.
I don't think
he was a scorer like that though.
Oh, maybe not. What about Chris Jackson though?
But Chris Jackson,
same thing,
was.
right? Like he could have easily been Lou Williams, right?
But how far off is he from being Lou Williams? Do we know that?
Well, Lou Williams has played like 15, 16 years now and multiple 6th Man of the Year awards.
I don't know how to spell Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf.
You can probably just do Chris Jackson.
I'm going to do Abdul-Rauf. I can spell that.
I'm just doing Abdul-Rauf. All right, what age the best in this game for you? You going to go with the uniforms?
The LSU shorts?
Yeah.
I cannot wait to bring
company
those back.
man.
Hell yeah.
I'm going with the shooting, because I think it's undeniable even at this point that if anybody had picked up on this, they could have duplicated or at least had some level of success. And this is what frustrates me about teams today is like, how do you not find shooters for your team? Just like you were saying with Patino coming off the bench, why not have 3 guys on your bench that if your team's not shooting well, throw one of them? Like, these guys are just knockdown shooters. I'm just gonna go out there and see if they can get a 3 or a couple threes tonight. Like, why not? They are out there. And also, would you have wanted to play in this game?
No.
No?
I would have just stayed on one side of the floor.
That's
the
true.
offensive side.
That's true. You might have been able to, the way how fast the ball moved. Like, you could just spot up at the 3-point line.
All right, so Sweet Lou Williams has had a damn good NBA career.
I know.
His career averages are 14.5 a game, and he has played for about 14 years now. Mahmoud career averages were 14.5 a game, and he played for 10 years.
10 years.
So he's not that far off from Lou.
Yeah.
Now starting versus non-starting and all that stuff, whatever.
Right.
And the game changed too.
Yeah.
More possessions, more shots, but they're not as far off as you would think. I remember Mahmoud being,
I guess, just impact,
pretty damn stellar.
Impact. Lou's been on some good teams and his name, but he's a more current player too. He was good. Like I guess that's what I'm saying. More in comparison, it's one of those things where we're starting to split hairs a little bit, but that he was so good and he looked unbelievable. Like some of the creativity, and one of the things that I think gets undersold when people are thinking about watching guys is like body awareness. Like he would see a shot or see a foul. I think there's one at the end of the game or close to the end of the game where he kind of senses a guy next to him and goes up and gets fouled. And it was a really broken play. Like he had gone behind his back, kind of almost lost it, and he just realized. I think that's a special skill.
He didn't shoot the ball very well in that game, especially from 3. But I loved his pull-up game.
Yep.
So in transition, we see everybody go all the way to the rim now. I'm going to sound like an old white dude here for a minute.
Yeah.
And nobody just pulls up short and shoots it. Like I talk to my son Knox about that all the time. I'm like, stop going into the defender and trying to make some hero-ass layup.
Yeah.
Just stop before you get to him and shoot the damn ball.
Right.
Like it's just in Chris Jackson, Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf does it multiple times that game, and he's really effective.
It's such a weapon if you use it in an efficient way. Like Chris Paul stands out to me now as someone that's so good at it. Like
Sure,
you don't want to
because those guys are
over-rely on
super
it.
quick,
Yeah.
and then they stop on a dime, pull up, and before you can get set to jump with them, it's already too late. It's a beautiful thing to watch.
Yeah.
But the dunking tiger is what
Oh my God, I can't
the
wait.
LSU's
I know.
dunking tiger. I'm just telling you, 99 fans out there, I'm fitting to misuse that son of a bitch. Like that guy's gonna be on basically everything.
Could we get a patch hat with that?
I would love to have a dunking tiger patch. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Barnett's gonna have a patch hat podcast here pretty soon.
I should. That's a good idea. If I can borrow that
Oh
machine
my
you brought.
gosh, I will. All right, man. Well, you got anything else that you want to talk about?
That's it. More stuff coming. We'll get back on this pod. I need to make my presence felt again.
That's right. NBA Jam.
I know nobody's been missing me, but I'm back, bitch.
Thank goodness.